Becca Neeson coming to you from the FemCycle collab with another women-centric recon for the Roads to Ruins Reverse, coming up on January 28th, 2025. Let's get into it, which is what everyone says. So here's the Velo viewer, back to it. I know it's still stretched out, but I do think this gives you some views into why I have my bike recommendation, which is, again, the Pinarello Dogma with the disc wheels. Because you see how much flat there is, even though it feels like there's a lot of climbing, and every time you say the jungle, people think bike change or they think that they're doomed, but you're not. And no, I don't recommend a bike change, and I almost never do. And mostly it's because I've seen it go wrong a lot. And there are those people who are magical unicorns who can do anything, who can switch in 10 seconds and have figured it out. And if you want to do it, go for it, magical unicorns. Everyone who's not a magical unicorn, don't do a bike change. Stick with your aero setup and be aware of the group. And instead of worrying about changing your bike and finding the right grade in the right place, just focus on sticking to wheels. My recommendation for a race song this week is Choose Your Fighter. You'll recognize it from the Barbie movie. And it really just says you can be whatever you want, and any type of racer can make this course work. So you're going to get 2 steamrollers, and you're going to use them in various places. I'm going to give you some examples, and it's going to last you for 30 seconds. It's going to make your rolling resistance less. So if you're on dirt, it'll make you feel like you're on pavement. This course should take you, if you're at 2 watts a kilogram, around 60 minutes. If you're at 4 watts a kilogram, less than 45 minutes. So medium to long, it's a scratch style race, so only your finish points are going to count. I'm going to go through a couple different scenarios, and that will make you hopefully understand why I'm going to recommend the tactics that I recommend. So given that you have, let's say, 5 racers, so not everyone has 6 racers. So if you have a rider that finishes first, if you have a rider that finishes 10th, 30th, 48th, and 50th. So the first rider will get 50 points plus 10 podium bonus points. So there's podium bonus points for the top 5 finishers: 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 points. That rider gets 60 points. Then the rider that finishes last gets 1 point. The rider that gets 48th gets 3 points. So that would be 124 points. So you have a breakaway star, and you have someone who probably finished in the top group. And then you have people that suffered and fell off the back. And let's compare that to a group that has 6 riders that finish in the middle, but none spectacularly. So somebody finishes 10th, 15th, 20th, 25th, 26th, and 30th would get 174 points. So you didn't have any podium bonus points, but you had a group that stuck together and probably helped each other out, and they got a lot more points. So this is a course where you want to talk to each other. And if you're making moves that are going to drop people, make sure you're not dropping your own people, because their points matter. Everybody's points matter. So let's go look at the course notes, and I'll kind of go over some recommendations for where to use that steamroller based on what type of rider you are. So we start downtown. We head up towards the S's, but you're going to take a right. This is one of those places that I say over and over again. If you're at the back where there is a pinch point where you're going up and then down, or down and then up, just be aware of the dynamic, and you need to push if you're at the back to get over the top. You're going to go over to the volcano and through the middle of the volcano, then drop down on the other side and head toward the Dirty Suppressa. The Dirty Suppressa is a place that people like to push, and if you are struggling, you can use your power up. Don't let yourself get dropped on this course on dirt because you're saving your power up for a place that you anticipate using it. So just like a bike change where people are so focused on getting to the point that they make the bike change that they drop a group, or they don't think to just not do a bike change because they're in a group that's going fast and they lose speed and they lose the group and they maybe don't catch them again because that group might have greater rolling resistance, but they also have the draft that they can save energy in. So use your power up if you need to on the Dursa Pressa. If you think that you're going to suffer a lot on the first climb, this climb is the climb to the jungle. It's really in two parts. That first part, that's the reverse way up the epic, and that's steep, and then you round a corner and it gets a little less steep, and then you round another hairpin turn and it gets steep for just a minute, and then it starts to kind of even off. And if I go back actually to the Velo viewer, you can see right here is where I'm talking about, and you can see it hits 9.7% for 72 meters, and then there's really no orange left in the rest of the climb. So the rest of the climb is more shallow, but as you hit this 9.7%, you're gonna almost stop, right? You're gonna go down to less than 20 kilometers per hour, even for the A's likely. So that's where you really need to push it, and that's where you'll see a lot of groups fracturing. If you are really struggling leading up to it, there is a wooden bridge, and the rolling resistance of the wooden bridge leading up to the climb is greater than, it's wood, so it's greater than pavement. If you need to use your power up, use it. Don't save it for something and then get dropped by 2 minutes on this climb. So you can use the tactic, if you're not a climber, of trying to get to the very front of the group, and then you will slowly drift back as people pass you. But you'll see people passing you, and if you can get your mentality right, you can try to kind of attach yourself to someone for 10 seconds as you slip back. So you might start off the front and then slip back and be in the back of a long line of people as you go over the bridge. So it's a tactic that you can use, and just know that you can do it. It's gonna end. So if you see this lasts about 2 kilometers. There's a very steep bit, and then it gets less and less steep as you go over the bridge. It's down to about 3%. And from that time on, it's going to stay at about 3%. So as you get to the top and you pass the pens, the jungle pens, you're going to start descending. There's a long descent. Really, it's almost that entire time, 11 kilometers to 16.7 kilometers, with a flat bit in the middle and the bridge. The bridge is one of those places that you need to be aware of what gearing you're in, and you need to be aware of the people around you. So just watch it. So once you hit the bottom, you're going to hit the lap banner, and you're going to pick up another power up. So you're going to pick up another steamroller. So do not save your steamroller for the climb, because the only thing you're going to get is a steamroller. So use it before you get to 17.3. Then you're going to start climbing at 18.1. This climb is longer. It's over 4.5 kilometers. You're going to end the dirt at about 21.7. So the last kilometer is back on pavement, and that's what you just ascended. So there's really 3 separate parts to this climb. Again, we can go back to the Velo viewer. You can see that right about here is where you start climbing, and the first part's pretty shallow, and then you even off. You can see that green right there, and then you're gonna hit a second climb where you can see the 3.6 for 79 meters, and then you're gonna hit another flat section, and then you're gonna go up again. This type of climb is great for someone who is not a traditional climber, because when you hit the flat segments, you have a moment where you can collect and you can push back into a group if you need to. So watch your positioning, make sure that you see the group ahead of you, behind you, and you're aware of where you are in relation to them. You really want to be in a group by the time you hit the descent from the pens. So when you get to 22.7 kilometers, you want to be with a group because you're going to go faster with a group, and it's fast and flat to the finish. So the last 7 kilometers are down or flat, and if you can be in a group, you're going to go faster. So the last section of the climb, let's go back to here. You can see it hits 4.5% for 120 meters, and that's probably the most significant part of this climb, but it's right towards the end. So you can push it because you know that you're going to get a descent coming up. And I like to think of it like a rally car. When you go over the top, carry as much speed as you can over this cap and into the descent, because the more speed you have coming into the descent, the more likely you're going to get a super tuck if you're in the front of a group. Remember, you won't super tuck if you're not at the front of a group, but you will be able to save some energy. So take some speed into that descent if you can. And if you haven't had to use your power up, if you've been at the front of the group, or if you've been able to just hang on by using it, there is a place that you could try to make a move at the end, at the bottom, just after 25 kilometers. There is a short dirt segment, and if you still have your power up, you can use it there. It'll last you 30 seconds, and you can try to make a move for the last 5K. If you do get away, you're going to have to likely push because people are going to be motivated to catch you. And hopefully you haven't used it if you're behind, because if you've listened to this recon, you know that I'm telling you to use your power up if it can help you stay with the group if you need it. So the finish line's at 29.8, and I would think that there would be attacks starting from about the tunnel, which is about 28.2 kilometers. I'm going to play the recon following this, and this week I only had time to do it with level. I'd love to do it with my own team, but I didn't have time. So the level recon was great. Honestly, I thought that the person that led it was really maybe just aligned with me on what were the interesting points of the course. So I thought that it was a great ride, and I always love to have a woman near me to play off of. So thank you, Sherry. And I'm going to leave you with the recon at the end of this. So good luck. Be mindful of where your teammates are. So if your teammate needs a wheel, remember the points that I just delineated for you. Having a bunch of riders in the middle of the field can help you more than having one rider break away and a few riders really struggle at the bottom. So at the back. Just be aware, and good luck, and have some fun, and kick some ass.